we've seen families with special needs our entire lives, and I've always wondered, how do they do it? But the answer is, you just do it. I mean, you do whatever you have to because that's your family. My name is Jackie Babiars. My husband's Bill, my daughter's Cammy, and we have another daughter, Ryan. Cameron is 5 years old, and she has a rare neurological disorder called Rett Syndrome. It is genetic, but not hereditary, meaning it's on her genes, but it's not passed down. And it affects everything she does. I was a new mom, Billy was a new dad, and she was a typical kid. So life as a new mom was great. Cameron has two cousins that are exactly her age, a boy and a girl. And they started crawling at 6 months, 7 months, and I noticed that Cameron wasn't showing any interest at all. And at about 8 months old, she was starting to fall over, where she could sit up for any length of time. And she started slouching over instead of sitting straight up. So those were our first signs. And I brought it up to the pediatrician at 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months. And she just said, just wait and see. Kids develop at different times. And even though I was a new mom, I knew something was wrong. Then at 12 months old, the pediatrician finally thought that there was something wrong. So she gave us prescriptions to get some physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, along with getting an MRI, blood work, hearing done, vision done, and everything came back normal. So I started wondering, is something wrong with me? How come no one believes me? I see something wrong, but no one can figure it out. Then by 16 months, it was pretty evident something was clearly wrong because she lost all ability to use her hands and she could no longer hold on to objects. But the physiatrist walked in and said, are her hands always like that? And we said, well, this just started a couple months ago and there's nothing we can do about it. Her hand is constantly glued in her mouth. And she said, okay. She walked out of her office. 30 seconds later, she walked back in and said, have you ever heard of Rett Syndrome? And I said, no. And immediately, just hearing a syndrome, I just started crying. They had to do some more blood work. Rett syndrome is diagnosed with a simple blood test. So all the previous blood work they had done, it was just never specifically tested for Rett syndrome. And on January 7th, 2011, she called back and said it was positive that Cameron had Rett syndrome. And we knew in our hearts that she had it, but it's still different once you hear those words coming from a doctor confirming it. And from there, our lives have been changed forever. We try not to think of it in a bad way. It's just different. The night we got the diagnosis, we were obviously devastated. And we took that night to mourn and to grieve. And we woke up the next morning feeling a sense of relief. I know that sounds strange, but we were relieved to get the diagnosis because we knew what we were up against and we knew how to take steps towards it to get Cameron the best life. And we knew that the only thing that we had control over was spreading awareness and raising money so that Rett syndrome would go in the direction that we wanted it to. Every March we have a fundraiser for the International Rett Syndrome Foundation. And every year we try to do something a little bit different, up the ante about how to raise money. And in the fall, he decided he was going to do something big. He was going to run across Illinois. He sported a silly purple mohawk to raise more awareness and more attention. He ran over a marathon a day. And he finished at Buckingham Fountain, all for Cammy. Between the run across Illinois and our fundraiser, we raised over $90,000 for the International Rett Syndrome Foundation. So to date, we've raised over $200,000, which goes to care and cure for Rett syndrome. I'm going to keep raising money for them until they find a cure for Cammy and everyone else. She lost saying Dada, which I know hurts my husband, but she actually can still say Mama. When she's really, really worked up. So she doesn't say it consistently or on an everyday basis, but in distress, she says it very appropriately. When she's upset, she'll say Mama. So as a mom, that's the one thing I need to hear. I need to be able to hear that from her. Every day is something different for Cammy. It's hard to predict how she'll be feeling. Health issues can still pop up. We're fortunate she does not have seizures or breathing issues, but we're well aware that those things can come up at any time. So her future is unpredictable, and we kind of have to roll with the punches of how she's doing and what we can do. We're just so grateful for you guys coming, for any opportunity that we have to raise awareness. And we're eternally grateful for all the love and support that we've been given. Our support system is incredible, and we could not do this without everyone. And we're so grateful to have the Kiwanis on our side.